Good evening, UT Dallas. That was Steven with the Cosmic Perspective. I'm sorry if you had to listen through some of his cringe-worthy jokes. I heard some in the studio, actually in the lounge over there, and they were pretty bad. Hopefully, you learned a lot about common sense, though. He always has a lot to say about that. However, you're in luck right now because you're listening to The Weekly Orbit, a show that revolves around current events, politics, and controversies, with a variety of guests of all different professions and perspectives. Views will be informative, eclectic, and even bizarre as we investigate further into the political perspectives, morality, and aspects of our society. And as always, I have to read off this disclaimer. So, the views expressed on Radio UTD are solely those of the DJs and do not reflect the views of Radio UTD as a whole or the University of Texas at Dallas. Of course, you're listening to the Radio UTD, the student-run radio station for the University of Texas Dallas, streaming live from the Student Union located in Richardson, Texas. If you missed last week's episode, we had Michaela and Teresa on talking about women in politics and their group Ignite Texas. If you're interested in hearing what they had to say, you can go over to youtube.com/The Weekly Orbit to listen to it again. That's Weekly Orbit, all one word. You can remember what it is because it's the name of the show, except for it's all one word. Of course, if you're interested in interacting with the show in any way, leaving feedback or whatever, we have a Twitter. It's twitter.com/The Weekly Orbit, and it's one word, The Weekly Orbit, no underscores, no spaces, nothing like that. Anyways, here to discuss today's topic is Nancy Fairbank of No Labels. Would you want to say hi to the people listening?
Hi, as Steven said, I'm Nancy, and I'm the founder and current president of No Labels.
Yeah, my name's
It's
Holmes,
Holmes.
actually.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I saw Steven right in front of me. I know your name's Holmes.
No, it's all right. Anyways, uh, now we know who I am. Who are you?
So I'm a political science major. I'm a sophomore. I'm the current vice president of student government, and as I said, I'm the founder of No Labels on campus. So No Labels is actually a national organization, but we are the first chapter on a college campus in Texas.
Cool, cool. What can you tell me more about No Labels? Like, what are they about? What are they?
Yeah, absolutely. We are a bipartisan political organization, and so the purpose of No Labels is to encourage politicians to work together rather than having political gridlock. And so there are a lot of things that we can do as students and on campus, not only to work with politicians, but to work with each other and find out different perspectives and try and understand the other side a little bit better.
Okay, okay. And you mentioned students. What do you do around campus specifically?
So, at our meetings, we generally have someone present a short topic, and then on that topic, we'll have discussion. And so, we'll have kind of views from both sides and opinions. We'll talk it out and have a great 30-minute discussion. And we also are hosting big events on campus. So, this year, we really want to bring out some politicians and get a lot of political activity, Republican and Democrat and independent, going on at UT Dallas.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Speaking of events, you have one coming up on October 6th, don't you?
Yes, we are bringing Congressman Joaquin Castro from San Antonio to campus. We're so excited. We're partnering with Pre-Law as well as the EPS Alumni Center. So it's going to be a really big event, we hope. And he's going to come, give a presentation. Then we'll have opportunity for students to ask him questions. And finally, we'll have a delicious catered reception.
Is there going to be like a way for me to give him a hug or signature or something?
I don't know. Maybe just for you, Holmes. Maybe you can
Okay.
come backstage, get an extra special pass.
Cool. All right. All right. That sounds good. All right. Anyways, let's talk about actually who he is. Who is Joaquin Castro? Why is he important?
So he's a congressman out of San Antonio, and both he and his brother are really involved in politics in Texas. So they are a very important upcoming pair because his brother is a former mayor and was recently appointed the director of housing under Obama. And there's a lot of speculation that his brother might actually run to be Hillary Clinton's vice president in the upcoming election in 2016. And so these brothers are a really powerful political duo in Texas, and Joaquin has definitely done a lot as a congressman in San Antonio.
Okay, but as an organization, do you guys try to work with him to be a part of No Labels? Do y'all want him to go forth and be unbiased?
Yeah, so No Labels really tries to connect with politicians and make sure that they're following the goals of No Labels constituents. And so part of that is that they will invite senators and congressmen and women to become problem solvers. That's their title for politicians that are affiliated with No Labels. And so Joaquin Castro is actually a problem solver, which means that he has pledged to No Labels that he will work against political gridlock and work as hard as possible to come together with the other side and make sound decisions for his constituents rather than just for his party.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool. Does No Labels have any kind of like certain stances on anything? Being nonpartisan, wouldn't that mean you can't tell them what to do? But that would be telling them what to do.
So, every individual member of our organization does have political beliefs, and some of us have very strong political beliefs that fall on the very liberal side and the very conservative side. But as a group, we don't have any views that are strong politically one way or another, besides the fact that we want to make sure that both sides work together to actually get good things accomplished for their constituents. Though I can say that No Labels has worked on some projects to try and get certain legislation passed, so they have had views on that, but it's been legislations that's been appealing to both sides.
What you said legislation. What kind of rulings would be in that? What kind of policies would be included in there?
So, No Labels was actually the first non governmental group to help get a piece of legislation passed. And the legislation that they work on drafting is, as I said, things that really appeal to both sides. So, one recent example is they're working on a bill that would decrease the amount of energy inefficiency in government buildings in particular. So, they're trying to help the environment and just stop wasting energy specifically in federal government buildings, and that's something that both Democrats and Republicans have agreed to work on.
Okay. I view the government as kind of like this black box. If you're a software engineering major or you're in any kind of engineering, you know what a black box is. And that's when something goes in, something happens, and then something comes out. You
Right.
don't know what happens. You can't see in there. Um, Whenever some kind of bill goes through or some kind of policy goes through with government, though, it's a little bit more than just a black box because not most of the time nothing comes out. I feel like whenever you have a Congress that doesn't want to pass anything, they actually, if you know what the Congress was a while back, that was called the shoot, it's on the tip of my tongue, but they, they didn't pass anything pretty much. Forgot, dang, man, I feel so dumb. But anyways, the moral of the story is they try to pass very little legislation, and the legislation we had passed this past year is like 1/5 of what they passed, and um, nobody wants to do anything. Nobody's trying to work together. I feel like in politics, that's just my opinion. And you guys are an organization that's trying to get people to work together. You're trying to get people to agree on stuff and then pass the stuff that you agree on, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
so I think that's really one of the main goals of No Labels is to stop having Congresses that really aren't passing any legislation and really to stop that gridlock. I think it's becoming increasingly frustrating for citizens to have a congressional body that won't do anything positive for them at all, but simply just sits there and doesn't do anything. I mean, what are we paying them for?
Hmm.
And so I think that that's a really important no goal or goal of No Labels is to try and prevent that. And I think that that is going to happen and take place when we get a certain number of people to join No Labels. You have to have that tipping point to get the politicians to
Hmm.
actually listen. But once you reach that point, I think that they really will take heed and see, all right, both parties, my party and the
Hmm.
other party, they want us to stop fighting and actually try and work together on some comprehensive legislation.
Do you have any, I guess, noteworthy family household names that you could tell people about that have joined No Labels?
I actually can't remember out of the list. I know Joaquin Castro is one, but I can say that they have over 100 senators that are labeled as problem solvers, or excuse me, over 100 congressmen, and then a
Okay.
few senators as well. So it's actually quite a large body of politicians
Oh,
thus
that's
far.
awesome. Yeah. Being a national organization, it's kind of hard to get everybody to agree, especially when they all come from different backgrounds. But that's a step forward, definitely, into
Hmm.
a, better future. Um, if I heard that the United States leans left for most issues, but I've also heard that the world leans more right. Is there any truth to that? Do you think? Do you think we lean more one way or another as a country, or do you think we're mostly centrists?
I mean, I think it really depends. If I personally had to kind of describe the political layout, I would say that we do, as a whole, lean left, especially because cities tend to be far more democratic, but there are definitely pockets of conservatism. So I'd say those kind of smaller towns, when you get into the more southern states, there are certainly conservative strongholds. But in my personal opinion, I think that the conservative politicians are eventually going to have to move more towards the middle in order to be elected by the average Joe citizen.
Okay, okay, and you guys, are y'all trying to do anything to combat that? I guess whenever you have people join No Labels on campus, do you want people to be unbiased, or do you invite people that are, firm in their beliefs? Are they allowed to have their own beliefs?
Yeah, we actually completely invite people that have strong political beliefs. So I think there are two facets of people that we really want to get to join. One is people that describe themselves as not being very politically interested or politically aware, because even if they don't want to speak or present, they can definitely just come in and listen to a variety of political opinions. And then the second, we definitely do want people that are strong in their beliefs. They don't have to give up their personal beliefs at all. And it's just very interesting for us as a group to have more people that are strongly set one way or another, because
Hmm.
then we get to hear those opinions and sort of begin to understand them a little bit more.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So you don't have to be a political science major to join your group.
Absolutely not. In fact, I think I'm one of the only political science majors in our group. We have a lot of people from the STEM field. We have like a biomedical engineer, we have someone in economics, and so our group tends to lean actually away from political science. So any major is welcome. If you're interested, know a lot about politics, if you don't know anything about politics, I mean, we'd love for anyone to come out.
Okay. I think I'm going to ask you a little bit of personal questions
Sure.
because it might be, I don't know, important. It might not even be important. I don't know. I don't know what happens on this show. But definitely, do you have any kind of, plans? I mean, supposedly ISIS is going to be a big problem here in
Hmm.
the next few years. There's always talks about big problems coming our ways as a country. Um, do you think that it would be, because me personally, I'm a non-interventionalist. I don't believe that we should intervene in almost any kind of situation that's not our problem, quote unquote. What do you think? Is No Labels more like hands off, or I don't know. I don't know how to word it properly, I guess.
So I think I'll have to separate out my opinion and No Labels opinion. So I think No Labels as a group can't really or doesn't really have a decided opinion on certain aspects of policy like that. I will say that all of the legislation that they've worked on so far has been domestically centered. So it's all been things within the United States rather than kind of presenting a group opinion on foreign policy.
Okay.
So that's the no label side. In terms of me personally, I tend to think that I would really need to examine the situation where we would intervene because we've had so much issues with intervention in the Middle East. I used to do debate forever ago, and one of our topic was about drone strikes, and I had such a huge problem with U.S. drone strikes, and
Yeah.
so I really believe a lot in humanitarian intervention, but any sort of military intervention, I think I'd really have to learn a lot about the situation before I could present an opinion on it.
No, definitely. There's most definitely a difference between those two groups of people going out there for either helping somebody humanitarily or helping them by dropping bombs from the sky onto their head.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
um, for for me, I don't know. I feel like the more labelless, I guess, or no label route. When I hear no label, I think of letting people do whatever they want. You do you, boo. That kind of stuff. I feel like for the most part, libertarianism is the more hands-off approach for policies. They let you do whatever you want. Supposedly, they want legislation that if you want to drink raw milk, you can drink raw milk. If you want to do heroin, you can do heroin. Do you guys like work with these kind of people too? Libertarians, third-party groups, independent, Green Party, justice parties, even.
I mean, I think that the national group especially is open to really anyone that's just frustrated with the state that Congress is in currently. But I guess I would say one difference between what you mentioned about libertarians is that we're not just a group saying oh, you can have whatever opinion you want. I mean, it's not like No Labels regulates people's opinions. We don't care if they're conservative or liberal, but I would say that we definitely want people in the national level that are passionate that there's something wrong with the country right now, that there is an issue that needs to be fixed. We can't just continue down a route of congressional gridlock. And so I think that all of the national level members are people that are willing to work together and join together to get something done, rather than just continuing to sit back and let politics play out how they will.
So, what are some of these problems that are, I guess, needs to be solved? What's No Labels working towards right now?
So, on one hand, they're working on their own pieces of legislation that, like the energy bill in the federal government, that they want to get passed. But on the other hand, they're just working to prevent gridlock in general. And so, I think that the piece of legislation, the one they've actually gotten passed so far, when they were the first outside group to get a piece passed, was no budget, no pay. And so that piece of legislation said that if Congress was unable to come up with the annual budget that they're supposed to create, that they simply wouldn't get paid until that budget was created. And that was something both Democrats and Republicans
Hmm.
agreed upon, because that's what would allow politics to continue to evolve in the best way possible, is if they actually did their job and created this budget.
Yeah, definitely. For me personally, I think that the government, anybody actually shouldn't get paid if they don't work. I mean, why would you pay somebody to work for you? The government works for us. Definitely don't pay them if they don't do anything. So,
Right.
but yeah, let's talk a little bit about the future of your organization and where it's been. Do you know how old it is?
This is actually our inaugural year, you could say. So we filled out all those OrgSync forms over the summer,
Hmm.
and it was finally this semester when we had our very first meeting. And so our second meeting is actually coming up this week, but we also have our really big event planned. So there's a lot going on for us this
Well,
year.
real quick, when's your meeting this week?
Our meeting is this Monday at 7 p.m., and we're in the Res Hall South classroom, and we will bring you food and also
Ooh,
t-shirts if you'd like to join.
I might need to be there then if there's gonna be food.
The t-shirts are orange, so UTD flavor. We got it.
Oh, cool, cool, cool. Okay, definitely, yeah. As a whole, though, as a national organization, how long have you guys been around to get legislation through, especially to be the first, I guess, nonpartisan group like that to push forward legislation? What would that take? I mean, how many people are involved? How big is it?
So what's interesting is that the national organization is actually pretty recent. It was actually just formed within the last 10 years. I actually believe in the last 5. I'm not sure of the exact date, but it's pretty
Hmm.
recent. However, they've been gaining momentum at an enormous rate. As I said, we're the first college chapter in Texas, but we're, I believe, the 36th college chapter in the nation. And they have, I think, quite a few 100,000 members nationally, and they're just growing exponentially for how little time they've been around.
Hmm. Do you guys have any kind of like plans besides this up here session that's coming up with? Oh man, what is his name? Joaquin Castro. Yeah. Okay, I
Joaquin
almost forgot that.
Castro.
Besides that, do you have like any other kind of, I guess, guests coming to speak at our school?
We don't have any lined up yet, but we definitely want to get some more local area politicians out to speak, and we're going to be contacting quite a few in the upcoming future. I know that at this next meeting on Monday, we're actually going to plan out who we want to contact and kind of strategize on that end. But what's really nice is that our national organization is very supportive. So anyone that they can help get out on our behalf, they definitely will.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, they're really, really great.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to say about how your organization is run? Is it very transparent? If somebody donates money to your cause, do you
Yeah,
keep record of it?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that all of our donations probably have to go through the organization office. We haven't had any huge donors yet, but if you would like to be a huge donor, I will put your name on a T-shirt and it'll be super transparent.
Oh, cool. Cool.
But yeah, I think definitely we'd love to do a fundraiser kind of in the Dallas area, not just at UT Dallas, but other places in Dallas with adults that could potentially fund us quite a bit, because we do think that it's an area that a lot of people are very passionate about. I know our sponsor out of Dallas, her name is Bobby Schwartz, and she is super passionate about it. And so I think if we could find other adults like that that would be willing to contribute monetarily or with political connections, I think that'd be a great step for us.
Do you have like any like if I'm not in college because I'm about to graduate,
Mhm.
how else could I guess support labels? Do you have any other outlets besides college campuses?
Yeah, so the national organization is completely separate. Like they started developing this on college campuses after they already existed as an organization. So even if you're not in college, you can definitely become a member of the national organization. They'll send you awesome email updates. You can help write to your local members of Congress. There are a lot of things you can do with the national organization, even outside of the college chapters.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the overall goal of your organization seems to be to get everybody to work together for the betterment of the population of the United States.
Yes.
And we don't really, I guess you said they don't really have anything about foreign policy yet. They're not. Would you consider them humanitarian a group?
I wouldn't say that word specifically. I think that one good way to describe them is they're trying to combat apathy. And I think that really is something that's very relevant to me personally. I was talking to a freshman the other day,
Hmm.
and I was jokingly just like talking about a political sign that I saw in a yard. And they didn't know who that person was. And when I told them, oh, this person's running for governor and there's this big race coming up, they just basically said, I don't care. I'm not going to vote. It doesn't affect me. And I said, it affects you. You're a girl. The debate about abortion affects you. You're in school. The debate about education affects you. And that's one of the main things that No Labels tries to combat is this apathy that seems to be more and more prevalent. And that actually really gets to me. I hate that sort of
Yeah.
apathy because it
No.
does affect you.
I definitely agree. The apathy part is spot on, I believe. I hear about money all the time in politics. People saying, I don't care about voting because I don't, one voice, it doesn't matter really. And to the, you know, it kind of is the truth, to be honest, which kind of sucks. But, um, there's a lot of corporations that have a lot of money. A lot of corporations want to use that money to influence, policies around them to make more money for themselves. There's a group that I know of called Wolfpack that is nonpartisan, but their focus instead of helping people get involved in politics, I guess, is helping get money out of politics. Have you heard about this group?
I haven't. I know a lot about PACs and super PACs because it's actually another debate topic, but I
Okay.
haven't heard about Wolfpack.
Okay. Do you have any other like super PACs, I guess you could say, that work with you? Any kind of think tanks that work with
I don't
you?
think any super PACs work with us because we're not really involved with any corporations. It's really just a group of individual citizens.
Okay. Okay, but even like other nonpartisan groups, y'all do any joint efforts?
I'm sure the national organization does some. I'm not sure exactly who they would be working with. I know on campus we have some other groups that we definitely want to work with. We've been working with Pre-Law, the EPS Alumni Center, and so I would love to work with any of the political groups on campus as well.
Oh,
But
cool.
I don't know about our national organization, who exactly they partner with.
You know what my I think favorite thing about politics besides how it affects your life is the debate aspect of it. I think that whenever you have people giving out their views, it's cool to just sit and listen to two people talking back and forth. And it sounds like you guys do that on almost a regular basis. Are you gonna kind of open that up to the students at all? Are you gonna have any like open forum, open discussions on campus at all this year?
Yeah, I would love to host, especially in spring, I think I'd really love to host kind of a on-campus public forum type debate. I also know that's something actually that the debate team on campus is interested in doing. So potentially we could partner with them and have sort of an open forum. And if anyone comes to our meetings, that's sort of what we do. We have someone give a presentation. Last time it was on the minimum wage, Fight for 15.
Hmm.
And then we all just discuss it. And it's not really a debate because we're not quite arguing and you have definitely more than two people, but
Of
just that
course.
group discussion format is so informative.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I feel like if I didn't become a software engineering major, I probably would have become a political science major because I have a lot of little interests and political political science and I guess politicians in general have to be able to be aware of all these different aspects of life, all these different interests that people have and jobs and hobbies or etc. For me, hearing those other views is important, and it's like you said, it creates that gets rid of that apathy that people have for, oh, I don't care about this or I don't care about that. But yeah, it looks like it's getting time. I have to read off a few things, like always. So, you're listening to Radio UTD right now, the student-run radio station for the University of Texas at Dallas, streaming live from the Student Union located in Richardson, Texas. Uh, okay, so besides, what the heck? What the heck? Why did that happen? Ooh, that makes me mad. Okay, sorry guys. Besides that, we have something else to announce. Okay, well, I guess we don't because that happened the other day. Never mind. I'm kind of dumb right now. Um, okay, yeah. I'll just like delete that whole section out whenever I put this up on YouTube. Okay, so for your organization, you guys are nonpartisan. You guys are trying to be labelless, I guess. No labels. Is there anything specific that you think you want to see happen in politics in the next few years that seems like everybody agrees on?
I don't know if there's anything I want to see that everyone agrees on. I do know that one of the no labels pieces of legislation was again on energy conservation, and that's something that I'm very passionate about that I think a lot of people could get behind. I know my dad actually worked in he ran his own alternative energy company for a number of years, and I think that that is something that could potentially cross party boundary lines that energy is something we should conserve. We do have finite resources in a lot of ways, and there is a lot of waste, especially in this country. So anything we can do to decrease that waste on campus or nationally is a positive step forward in terms
Hmm.
of politics and just as individual people.
For me, I think the independence from other countries, for instance, we get so much imports from other countries for things that we could create here in America
Hmm.
or we could grow here even. So it's not that we have to isolate ourselves away from everybody, but we don't have to rely on other people, especially for things like oil that are, that's inelastic. We can't,
Right.
that really does dominate our economy in some regards. Um, what other kind of interests do you have besides politics, I guess?
Um, I focus a lot on politics, but I'm also interested in the criminal justice system, which I guess is a subset of
Yeah, I mean,
politics.
I feel like that's really relevant.
Yeah, so I am in the Innocence Project class with Dr. Champagne for the second time, and that class is just fascinating because it is intricately related to politics because of Texas death penalty
Hmm.
laws. And it was really interesting the other night when I watched the debate between Wendy Davis and Greg Abbott because I was very surprised that Wendy Davis said she supported the death penalty
Yeah,
because generally that's not a
it surprised
liberal.
me too, actually.
Yeah, and so I think that that's really relevant because the Innocence Project class has shown me that there are so many people that can be innocent and still end up incarcerated or on death row.
Hmm.
And so for both candidates to say they supported the death penalty was something that I personally didn't really like, but I know they also both talked about DNA testing
Hmm.
being the need for that to be more prevalent, which is a way that a lot of innocent people have their names cleared.
Right. And besides that, though, you are the vice president for student government here at UTD,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, so everything
Okay.
relates to politics. So we have our on campus politics. We're really excited about some of the initiatives on campus from food options to library hours. So that's going quite well, I'd say.
Okay, cool. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, for sure. What kind of changes do you think are gonna change within UT Dallas in the next like year?
So, first of all, there's a lot of change going on in terms of growth of campus, especially with food options. So, by around May, our student union dining hall is going to be closed, and they're going to start replacing that with food vendors. So, possibly like a Panda Express, a Moe's Southwestern. They'll move the Chick fil A over there. So, we're going to get a bunch of new food options. And then right now, we also actually got our initiative approved to have the library hours increased on
Oh
campus.
wow.
Yeah, so this
Yeah,
is one of the first times we're officially announcing that, but by the end of this fall, hopefully we'll have a 24 by 5 library. They're just hiring the staff for that now.
yeah. I saw in the Mercury that they had increased the hours actually just recently.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I never actually heard about them changing the what they have here for food. I know that they opened the new dining hall and then they changed the hours for the original one. I tried to go in at like 2:30 and they're like, "Oh no, we close at 2 or
Yeah, they're
something.
only open for lunch in the SU dining hall now.
Yeah, and I don't know. I didn't like that at all. And you're talking about the growth of the school, but it feels like kind of shrinking because they have a lot of construction going on. You can't even go like to the northern part of the
Yeah.
campus right now.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely changes to be made, and there are always growing pains. So I know that one recent complaint we've heard has been about the hours, even in the new dining hall, that they just closed too early. They're closed at 7 on weekends and 9 on weekdays.
Hmm.
And so there have been a lot of complaints about that. So I think that student government is going to try and write a proposal and work with auxiliary services to get those hours expanded.
Yeah, my friend, I have a few friends over at UNT, and they were talking about how they went at like midnight to get food, and I was just like, surprised that you could do that over there. And they were like, "Oh no, our cafeteria is open 24/7. Like you can go
Yeah.
any time of the day." And I think UTD is growing so much over the last few years that we really need to start. I feel like expanding all these options. So it's good in a way. We're growing. We have a lot of new people and a lot of people from all different kind of areas. Are we gonna get any kind of like new buildings in the next few years?
Um, there's definitely talk of new buildings, and there's a need for them, but there aren't any official plans confirmed except for across from Synergy, they're building a venue area called Comet Town, and so that's going to be a lot of shops, restaurants, potentially a bar or two, and that will be kind of a place for UT Dallas students to have their late night food
Hmm.
options and shopping and things like that.
Yeah, I saw actually a sign there the other day that said property of UT Dallas, and I was like, "What? I didn't know we owned this
Yeah,
area."
it's great that we have so much land to
Hmm.
develop on. I mean, obviously the construction is annoying a lot of the times to try and work around it, but I just can't imagine seeing this campus in 20 years and
Yeah,
seeing how much it's changed.
yeah. I work at the activity center sometimes, and somebody came in and she had brought a friend from China, and they were trying to talk to me. They're like, "Hey, can we look around the building real quick? My friend is here from China. She wants to see the school that I went to." And I was like, "Yeah, go ahead." And then she came back and she was like, "This is so much bigger." And I pulled out a map for her to look at because she asked about where her, a parking spot was. And I gave her the map, and she was like, "Whoa, this is way bigger. This none of this was here." So I'm assuming she was here maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, actually.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we opened in 1969, and it was just like, uh, what was it, a bachelor's
Yeah, there
college.
wasn't any, yeah.
There wasn't any like freshmen here. But now we're talking about maybe getting like law, maybe graduate law.
I don't know too much about that. I know there is talk of expanding majors in the engineering areas to
Hmm.
have chemical engineering. I think that's a little bit of a longer term goal, but there's been a lot of push for that, especially because it's very relevant for jobs in Texas. And there's actually a really cool tool that the UT system is developing for students called CQT. It's like the word seek,
Hmm.
SEEK, and then UT. And that you can look at any of the UT Dallas system institutions like UT Austin, UT Dallas,
Okay.
and you can put in your major and find out what the average student loan debt is, what your average income on the highest and lowest
So you
end
can
would be.
compare the different UT or
Yeah,
University of
you can
Texas classes.
compare any of the colleges and any of the majors. So I think that's going to be a great tool
That's
for
cool.
looking where to expand our
Yeah,
majors.
that's awesome. I used for figuring out where to go for college. I used oh man, I don't even know, some random website that I found on Google, and you just kind of look at like three different stats, and that's it, and it shows you like really relevant, irrelevant information that you have to like sift through, and it wasn't helpful. So hopefully that brings in a lot more freshmen
Yeah.
here that know more about UT Dallas. I don't know. What do you think some of our strengths are as a school? Like what would bring people here?
So, first, our academic scholarships are incredible. I mean, we do have one of the highest costs of tuition, I think actually the highest for a public university in the state. But I think that's really outweighed by the amount and the just generosity of the scholarships we have.
Hmm.
So, I think that's a really attractive aspect for students. And then, one of the things that really attracted me to this school was how flexible the administration was. So, a lot of campuses are set in their tradition. You know, it's been that way for 100 years. It's not going to change.
Hmm.
But our school is very adaptable and very flexible. And so I honestly feel like I can go into student government or I can go into a student organization
And
and
get stuff done.
yeah, I can make a difference. And
Cool.
just our school is growing so much. I mean, I think we went from like 150 student organizations to 250 in 1 or 2
Oh yeah, I
years.
looked that up on the School of Management, or not School of Management, SOM website actually, and they were saying there's 250 organizations. I went through and read about every single one when I was planning my show,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of stuff out there, guys. If y'all don't have like a group that you get to,
Yeah.
go find one. They're easy. Um, but yeah, for me, I like UTD. It's very flexible, like you said. I mean, the students voted on our mascot like a long time ago. You can debate whether or not that was a good idea because the comment is kind of weird, but they're really flexible. I feel like if you want something, you can do it here. And I kind of tell people that whenever they're trying to figure out where to go to college. And working in the activity center, people come all the time at orientations and they ask me, should I go here?
Hmm.
What do you think about college or something? I have parents ask me all the time, you know, my son's looking for art. Do you think he'd do good here? And I'd say, well, is it digital art or is it drawing?
Right.
Oh, well, if he wants to do painting, I don't think UTD is going to be a suit. But, if he wants to do commercials and CG for commercials and stuff, definitely come here because we got a great ATech department. I feel like that really brings on a lot of people having like those strong uh, like departments. We have ATech, we have business that's really good,
Hmm.
software engineering and computer science is like phenomenal. Business, I think I said, and nanotechnology.
So I think that one of the only things that really frustrates me about UT Dallas is that we are only seen as a STEM school. And of course, we have amazing opportunities for STEM students between
Hmm.
all the hands-on research that they can do with professors. But I know that constantly in speeches from the administration, they highlight all of the STEM accomplishments. And actually, as a political science major, I love this school. Like,
Hmm.
I feel like I have some of the best professors. I really like the classes. And so I wish that we wouldn't continue to label ourselves, even not just other people, but label ourselves as
Okay.
only a STEM school, because we do have a lot of great other options like the business school and like political science.
No labels.
No labels. There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that you really did speak about something really important. I feel like if you go to like UT Austin for pre-law or something, you're gonna be sitting in like a big auditorium with like a million students.
Hmm.
And I can't speak for, you know, your pre-law classes or political science classes. I can only speak for the classes I've been to, but it would suck to have to like be in a class of like 300 people, try to fight your way to the professor at the end of class to ask him a question or something, or be too intimidated by how many people are there. I like the intimacy, I guess you could say, that you can have between a professor and a student. Um, that actually is kind of gross to say it like that, but the the personal connection that you can have, relationship with them,
Yeah.
and even the people that are working in like the administration office, you can really talk to anybody. I had a problem a while back with my classes. For some reason, none of my I turned in my labs for a physics lab, and none of them got graded. I
Mm.
think whenever my TA was grading them, he put them all under somebody else's name for some
Uh-oh.
reason, and so I technically don't have a credit for that class. I technically failed it, but I was able to like talk to administration and stuff, and they understood. And I proved to them, like I showed them like my uh, papers that had grades on them whenever I got them back,
Hmm.
and I was like, look, I got the grades and stuff, and they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll let you skedoodle to physics too, and we'll try to see what we can do. So I mean, I'm working with them on that. I talked to like the assistant, not the dean, but the dean's assistant. I like sent her an email. She responded back in like less than a day. Like I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
But but there are some kind of drawbacks, I guess you could say, with our school.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is Brooke Knudsen, who's the president of student government, and myself were at the UT SAC conference last weekend. So that's where all of the UT system school presidents and vice presidents meet 3 times a year. And what's interesting to me is that really the major problems that we have at UT Dallas are the exact same problems that they have at other schools.
So
So
like what?
advising is a huge
Oh
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
definitely a
But
problem.
it's not just us, it's everyone. So
Hmm.
it's like it's not that it's just our advising process, it's just advising in general at colleges is a huge issue.
Okay, yeah, I think we can. I don't know. I have I guess anybody that's a software engineering major that's been here for more than a year and a half can definitely attest to this. If you take discrete math 2 and you pass it, and then you try to like sign up for a class that requires discrete math 2, it won't let you take it because it, like, I don't know, they programmed it in wrong. It's some glitch. So anytime I have to sign up for classes, I have to go to an advisor, and they
Yeah,
have to do it manually. And it's like
that's frustrating.
I waited like 2 hours, 2.5 hours one day, talk to my advisor, figured something out, came back because I had to come back to them with like some more information, and waited for another 2 hours to talk to them. So I can like definitely agree that advising needs to kind of be reformed a little bit here.
I think that JSON by far has the best advising process because they have the system where they'll text you when your advisor's ready, so you don't have to wait in that
Oh
office.
wow.
Yeah, and they also provide all of their students with a faculty advisor that
Hmm.
they can go talk to about like career advice or
Oh cool.
yeah, so JSON does a great job, but I also think one of the things that frustrates me in the advising process is I don't know if you know the International Baccalaureate Program, IB. It's like the equivalent of AP, but IB doesn't get the same credits that AP gets. So that was really frustrating for me as a out-of-state student that
Hmm.
IB wasn't recognized
Okay.
as well.
Yeah, that can be. Wait, so you're a sophomore, right?
Yeah,
But you were in Wisconsin. Where were you from?
I'm from Missouri.
Missouri. Okay, and they don't have AP. They have IB.
They do have AP in Missouri, but they also have IB, not just in Missouri, but it's an international program. So they have it in Texas, they have it all across the nation, and some of our
They
international
just don't come
students
here.
have it.
They don't like transfer over
I
to
mean, there are
UTD.
some IB students here. I guess like AP is more prevalent, but there are definitely some other IB
Okay.
students here that I've talked to.
All right. Yeah, because I'd never heard of that actually before you brought that up.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. For me, transferring over to UTD from high school, or moving into, I should say, was really easy. They really wanted me to come in. I came to orientation a while back, like forever ago actually, and I just had a great time here, meeting new people, talking to people. Everybody had a real good sense of like tradition, even though our school's like really young, and they had like I don't know how you would say it, but they really wanted you to, be involved. They wanted to say hi to you. People always say that there's no school spirit here, but there definitely is. I think like nobody's wearing like Longhorn shirts, I guess. I mean, people wear Longhorn shirts like outside of Austin. I don't see anybody in Austin wearing UT Dallas shirts, but except for me. I think we do have school spirit though. Are we able to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd say that our campus is apathetic still in a lot of ways, but I feel like as we continue to grow and more students live on campus,
Hmm.
that's going to change. And I know our men's basketball team did a phenomenal job last year. We had the highest game record turnout ever because of their Sweet 16
Oh
championships.
yeah, that buzzer beater. It was
Yeah,
amazing.
which was fantastic. And even our club sports teams, I mean, rugby as a club sport team
Hey, I'm
has.
on that.
Are you really?
Yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah, I've seen pictures of you. Yeah.
everybody has.
The rugby team does a fantastic job. They've been to state a few times, I
No,
think, right? Or they've been
we're
close.
we're 3 years old as an organization. This is our fourth year, and the last 3 years we've been to state, went undefeated. Um, we went to regionals actually every single year. So this year, like we really had to try to go to orientations and stuff, and try to get people interested in rugby so that they can come out to practice. And we have like a consistently consistently we have like a group of like 45 people that come out to practice now, when it
Yeah.
used to be like 20. So this group has gotten so big, and we're actually looking forward to our first game, which is well, I know that we have a it's called Hotter Than Hell round robin that's going to be in Austin, Texas in 2 weeks. So the 4th, and we're just going to play against other teams, and we're going to beat them again.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, who cares about football when you can see guys literally lift each other into the air? That's pretty cool.
Have you heard of Yik Yak before?
Yeah, I've heard
Okay.
of it.
It's like an app where you can like anonymously submit stuff and talk trash or talk about whatever you want. And like I've seen at least 2 or 3 times on there people talk about how we need a football team here at UTD, but rugby is football.
Yeah, and what's frustrating is I think that the people that always talk about needing a football team, I mean, where are you guys at basketball games? Like,
Yeah.
we should support the teams we already have before asking for new ones. And if we did get a football program, it's not like they'd be amazing right off the bat. That would take a
Oh,
lot of development.
yeah. People
Yeah.
would be like, "Oh, I wish we didn't have a football
Yeah,
team
our football
anymore.
team sucks, right?
Let's not talk about them. Let's not like, go out to their games or something." Yeah, definitely agree with that. whenever it comes to like telling people about what our school is and what we can do for them, a lot of times people like, try to show them, oh, we don't have a football team, but we have something cooler, rugby. Um, we don't have all these things, but we have these things instead. Like we have a lot of, I feel like, cool,
Yeah.
unique things
We
about
are
our
a very
school.
unique school. I mean, look at our chess team.
Yeah.
Number 1. There you
Oh,
go.
I always bring that up when they're like, "Are you guys good at sports?" I'm like, "Yeah, number one in the world at chess, baby."
Yeah, in the world. How crazy is that?
Yeah, and the people are like, "Do cheerleaders go out to that?" And I'm like, "Actually, yeah."
Yeah, we've had pep rallies for the chess team for sure. So I don't know. I think that people that complain about a lack of spirits or lack of events, I don't think they're getting out enough. I mean, we do have tons of events on campus. Radio UTD
Yeah.
hosted an event the other night.
We had like Data Howler, and we had Anamanaguchi here before, which is like really cool. Um, I know that if you're not in an organization, you should find one because there are a lot of them. Like I said earlier, 250 of them. We have no labels that you can come out and join. We have rugby that you can come out and join. By the way, what is the next event for you? The next meeting, Monday, right?
Yeah, Monday at 7 in the Res Hall South classroom. We'll give you food and t-shirts, and if you're interested, you can help us set up for the Castro event. If you do that, then we'll make sure you get the chance to meet Congressman Castro personally. We'll reserve you a seat, so it's definitely a really cool event to help out with.
Cool.
And you can just come out next Monday at 7 to the Res Hall South classroom.
Okay, and what about the Congressman Castro event? When is that?
Yeah,
October 6th?
It is October 6th from 4 to 6 p.m. in the Clark Center Auditorium. So we really want people to arrive about 15 minutes early at 3:45 so they can get seating. And then we'll have a presentation by the congressman, a question and answer session, and afterwards there'll be a catered reception. All of it's free. If you check out our Facebook, just type in No Labels UT Dallas. You can RSVP for the event just so we know how much food to order.
Okay. Do you have like a Twitter or MySpace, High Five, Zanga, anything like that?
So far, we only have a Facebook, but I think Pinterest is next on our list.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, we
weird.
will not get a Pinterest. No one look for that.
Okay, well, I will. Or like an Instagram or something. I'm sure that you have something out there. Do you have any kind of like last words, I guess, about UT Dallas since we're on that topic?
Yeah, I guess I just want to say that something that's important to both No Labels and student government and just campus in general is the word apathy. And I think that it's so easy to be apathetic as a student when it relates to spirit events or as a political constituent when it comes to voting. And so I would just really honestly encourage everyone to try to get involved on campus, on a political campaign.
Mm-hmm.
These things matter to you. Getting involved in an organization matters to your personal life and to your growth and to your happiness. And getting involved in a political campaign really, the outcomes of that election are going to affect you as a student, as a person, whatever gender you are. And so I really would say that my final statement, I guess, of the night would be reject apathy and just try and get involved in your personal life and as part of a greater community.
Cool, cool. Yeah, definitely. Freshmen that have come here, oh, I've talked to a few of them, like at orientations, or I mean, orientation was before school, obviously, but there's some events that I've had to do for like Radio UTD or rugby or something, and I've talked to like some freshmen, and they kind of tell me like, oh, I don't really know anybody around here. Uh, like definitely get involved in an organization. If I have to like give one kind of like tip to people, is to make friends, and the friendships you have in college last forever a lot of times. And if you get involved in something where people have similar interests, whether it's no labels or it is like a partisan group, you will have like a friendship that will carry on. You'll be able to get rid of that apathy. You'll be able to connect with more people and stuff. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for the show. Um, Remember, guys, that you're listening to Radio UTD, the student-run radio station for the University of Texas at Dallas, streaming live from the Student Union located in Richardson, Texas. Next week on the Weekly Orbit, we're going to have Mary Kim, who is from Hearts of Dove, come on the show. We're going to talk about domestic violence and I guess how that impacts students, how that impacts everybody. And October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So hopefully we make you guys aware of it a little bit. If you want to listen to the show again, if you missed any of it, you can listen to it on Twitter. on YouTube, youtube.com/theweeklyorbit. You can remember it easily because it's one word, The Weekly Orbit, and it's the title of the show. No spaces, nothing like that, nothing fancy. Also, we have a Twitter, twitter.com/theweeklyorbit. It's all one word, no spaces, anything like that. And you can remember it because it's the name of the show, obviously. Um, yeah, okay, so anyways, up next we have Angel and her show, Thursday Night Cram Session with Angel. Usually it's pretty good. I listen to it whenever I go home and cram. I'm actually about to do that. I have a test on Monday that I really need to study for.
Rough.
So, all right, do you want to say bye?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Holmes, and thank you guys for listening. It was great to get to come on the show.
Okay, all right, so that was Nancy Fairbank, and see you guys later.